So I want to break down EQ and music production, especially when it comes to vocals, because I find that EQ is wildly misunderstood, overly abused, and there's just so much information out there that you don't need to pay attention to use EQ well. And I want this video to be a breakdown of that so you can be confident in using EQ, when to use it, how to use it, why to use it, what you're actually listening for. I've been producing my own songs for over 20 years. I also worked alongside a Dove-winning and Grammy-nominated music producer. And I've learned a few tips and tricks along the way. In this video, if you stick with me, should demystify and break down EQ for you forever, and you can get back to making more music and stop thinking about all the technical numbers of the frequency range and thinking that there's a perfect way to do EQ. Now, don't get me wrong, EQ is one of the most important tools in your toolkit when it comes to shaping your sound and mixing your music. But again, I think we overcomplicate it. There's so much marketing out there that talks about, multi-bands, mastering EQs, linear EQs, analog EQs, digital EQs, and they make it seem like this EQ is going to be the magic fairy dust that's going to make your music pop, and it's just not true. EQ really is shaping the tone of your music. It's helping to carve out frequencies to make things fit together like a puzzle piece, but we overcomplicate it. You're a music producer, you're making your own songs. I would argue that you really only need to understand 3 ranges of EQ to use EQ effectively. And that's going to be in your low end, your mid range, and your high end. Now, the low end's anything from 0 to 200, 250 hertz range. Your mid range, like that 250 all the way up to 8K, and then 8K up, your high end. And to make things even more simple, you should be thinking of your low end and your high end as a shelf. So you're either just making it boomier or less boomier, brighter, less brighter, and then really gentle curves in the mid range. No massive notches, no, crazy boosts or dips. We just want to be able to either push the sound forward in the mid range or pull it back. Now, some may argue with me in the comments that this oversimplification of EQ, but as I show you in the demonstration of my own song, this mindset, you're going to see really like that's all it takes. Now, if you want to get deeper into EQ, you can break up that mid-range into many different sections. They do have their own distinct characters, but really when it comes to shaping your production and your sound, and even I would say in the mix phase, you don't need to really get into all those different bands for most things. The vocals are very broadband, meaning you're going to have frequencies in the lows, the mids, the highs. So you will have to be a little bit more thoughtful on how you EQ your vocal to make sure that it not only fits into your song, but it stays present and forward in the mix. But I'm going to demonstrate how easy that is in this tutorial. Now, before we get into this tutorial, I want to discuss the elephant in the room, which is there's too much emphasis on mixing. Now, don't get me wrong, mixing is very important, but no amount of mixing can fix bad edits and bad performance. And your vocals are no different. You cannot fix things in the mix when it comes to your vocals, but you can prep your vocals for a mix in a way that is repeatable and will get you awesome results every single time. I've been doing this on my own tracks, and I want to show you the exact process on how I get mix-ready vocals every single time. So go in the link below and click to find resources to help you nail your vocals every single time you go to record. All right, so there's a song I'm working on called Breathe In. Ignore the messy production environment that you are looking at here. I'm going to show you how to simply and effectively use EQ to create not only the tone of your vocal, but how to make it fit within the track. And to do that, I'm going to use this API EQ right here because not only does it sound great, but it's super simple to use. You have 3 bands. You have your low, your mid, your high, just as I was talking about. That's pretty much all you really need to work with when it comes to EQ. I'm ensuring that the low and the high band are in shelf mode. And we're just going to go ahead and listen to the vocal without the EQ, and then with the EQ, what we're listening for, why to use it, and what it's doing to the overall soundstage of your song. Now, I do have some other plugins on this vocal right now. I just have some noise removal. I have Soothe to reduce some resonance. And then I have a compressor just to even out the voice a little bit so we can hear it better. So it's not popping in and out with the dynamics of the vocal. So the first thing we got to think about when it comes to EQ is that these knobs are volume faders for the frequency. It's going to either push that frequency forward or it's going to bring it back. And sometimes bringing things back makes things more audible because you're no longer trying to compete with the soundstage, making things sound congested, claustrophobic. So actually pulling stuff back can sometimes make it more audible. We talked about this in my compression video about what compressors are actually doing. And you got to think of front to back as pushing forward in the speaker or moving backwards in the speaker. And honestly, the best EQ move you could probably make is just using your fader at first and finding a good place for that sound to sit in the soundstage. And we don't want to do this in solo. Solo is bad because there's other instruments happening, and we want to make sure that we're fitting the vocal into the space to not step over any of the other instruments, or vice versa, where we want parts of the vocal to come through and we don't want those things to interfere with the vocal. And you cannot know what you're doing if you're doing it all in solo. So stop doing things in solo. Do it in context of your song. All right, so let's listen to this vocal without the EQ in it. This is a dry vocal, so be nice to me in the comments. Early with the sunrise, the birds sing harmonies. You point up and join them. All-time bedside symphonies. It sounds fine, but what I'm hearing is congestion in the lower mids because of the bass and the kick drum, and a little bit of that chestiness in my vocals are all kind of occupying the same space. And if I'm thinking about this song, I want the drums and the bass to breathe. No pun intended. So I'm going to think about that in terms of my vocal. I want to push the chest backwards. I don't want to eliminate it. I don't want to go and do like a high pass filter and just cut it all out, because then you're going to lose the heart of my voice. I don't want that to go away. I just need it to be less so that the other instruments can breathe and it feels less claustrophobic. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and zero these out, and we're going to go to this low band. And if I'm thinking that lower mids, I'm going to 300, and I want to dip that and just basically a shelf, bringing it down, not eliminating it, but just creating more space for that low end to breathe. So let's listen to that in context of the mix. Let's turn this on. Early with the sunrise, the birds sing harmonies. You point up and join them. All-time bedside symphony. All right. Just listen to the congestion in that area before and after. It feels tight before the EQ. And when I dip out that 300, I don't feel like I'm losing the chest in my voice, but I'm gaining clarity and openness in that area. Check it out. Early with the sunrise, the birds sing harmonies. You point up and join them. All-time bedside symphonies. Another very subtle thing happening when you're dipping out that low end is it almost pushes the vocal upwards in the stereo field, because you're now removing an anchor in my voice that's pulling me down. Now it feels like it sits up a little bit more. I'm going to go to this section here where there's a little bit more instrumentation with some shakers, because this is going to introduce high end, which then we'll look at from the mid band and the high band, and how to shape the vocal around the shakers for the same thing, like to make sure we're not clashing with those other instruments while keeping the vocal present, but the other instruments breathing. So let's go ahead and listen to this section with the EQ curves that we already made. Okay, so we have the shakers, we have the electric guitar. We want those to sit well with the vocal without overtaking the vocal, but we also don't want the vocal to mask those instruments. So the challenge is keeping the vocal up front and audible, while also allowing the other instruments to breathe around the vocal. And that's where we're going to look at the mid-range. We're going to look at the high end. Now, this is where we may need to address those instruments by themselves, but while we're shaping this vocal with EQ, we need to think of the mid band and the high band. The high band is going to create air and presence. It's going to create kind of that breathiness and height, while the mid range is going to really push things forward. So we have to be careful on what frequencies we're pushing forward to ensure that we're not overstepping on the guitar and the shakers while maintaining presence. So my initial thought is, if I want this vocal to sit forward and be able to hear what I'm saying, 1.5K is going to be kind of that honkiness that's going to push things forward. So listen to this right here. It's that telephone effect. And as we move down, we're going to get a little bit more, I guess, earthy, dirty kind of sound out of the vocal. Check this out. You can hear once I go to that 1.5, it really pokes out of the mix like a telephone. And actually, that idea of like a telephone sound, that frequency range is really easy for us to hear. And they purposely made loudspeakers like that, like in old factories, because people were able to hear announcements and things over loud machinery and stuff. So that's just a side note to this frequency range. As I go up to 3 and 5K, we're going to start getting more into sibilance and bringing out kind of like the sharpness in the voice. Okay, so I'm going to stick with 1.5K. I'm just going to boost it by 2 dB. Very gentle boost. And this should, in theory, bring the vocal out so it's audible, so it still maintains the focus of the track while not stepping on the shakers. And we'll hear what it does against the guitar. Let's check it out before and after. All right, so that you can feel the fader of the mid band pushing it forward, and the vocal now is more forward in the mix while still not taking up the space for the low end. But now we got to think about the high end. I do want to bring more of the vocal forward, because right now it feels like it's kind of like a bell shape where I have the face part of my voice pushed forward, but the air and the chest is pushed backwards, and it just doesn't feel like and this is not the right shape for me. I'm gonna go up to this high band and go to this 10K. I feel like 8K is a great place to start. The API does not have 8K, so I'm gonna just do 10K because that's gonna bring out the airiness in my voice while leaving out the harshness that can come from the sibilants and that kind of almost like cut your head off frequencies that can be in that, 3.5 to 5, 6K range. So I'm gonna stick with 10. I'm just gonna boost it up by 2 dB and hear how that sounds. So let's play it without it, and then I'll just boost it in the middle. All right, so that feels good. I'm still hearing the electric guitar. I'm still hearing the shakers. The voice is more up front, and we didn't do a whole lot here. Let's listen to before and after. So that really is EQ and production in a nutshell. You're making things darker or brighter. If you stick with shells for the low and the high end, and then just a gentle bell for the mid range, you're good to go. That should do like 90% of the tasks that you need to do with EQ. Now you can do this exercise on your own, play around with different frequency ranges, really listen to how things might clash with other instruments in the production. Again, I have a goal in mind. I wanted my vocals to sit up front, while also allowing space for the other instruments to breathe around the vocal. And this isn't a perfectly mixed track yet, but you can see how shaping the vocal like this allows me to then go, okay, I got the vocal to where I like it. And now I can go into other instruments and maybe do a little bit more EQ, compression, and fader rides around those instruments to create even more space, depth, width, separation, however you want to call it. So this should have shown you that EQ really isn't that hard. If you just focus on 3 bands, you can do most of the work that you need to do to shape your sound and get it to fit within the context of the song and make your song sound awesome. What was your biggest light bulb moment? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with. I'm totally open to the conversation and debate. But that's the fun thing about music, is that most of it is subjective. And if it sounds right and feels right, then it is right. And I hope you go and have a good day and go make some more music. See you in the next one.